of Princeton, where in our open and welcoming community, we live our message of hope, love, justice, and joy. Whether you've joined us here in Channing Hall or live on Zoom, it's wonderful to be together on this brand new and beautiful day. We extend a special welcome to our visitors this morning. We're happy to welcome you, and we invite you to stop by our newcomer table after the service if you haven't already, so that we can get you any information about our congregation that you would like. Our next Exploring Unitarian Universalism program, which is our brief introduction to our faith and congregation, is next Sunday right after worship. We'd love to see you there. And also, please stick around for the free brunch that follows the service today. It's a brunch to celebrate the beginning of our annual giving campaign, and all are welcome as we make friends and eat and build community together. We have a few announcements, the first of which, speaking of building community, our very own Michael Van Pelt has a special announcement about our ongoing online fellowship auction.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Van Pelt. I've been coming here for about a year and a half. Last year was my first fellowship auction. So I just wanted to share my experience. But first, there are a few things I have to let you know. Excuse me. It runs until tomorrow at 8 p.m. So today is not the end. You still have time. All are welcome to bid. If you haven't received an email with the link, you can go to the UUCP website. There will be a link there. And it's a major fundraiser for the UUCP. So last year, as I said, was my first fellowship auction. I was only here for about 6 months, and I knew a couple of faces when I came in every week. So I decided to just, find a way to see more people. I bid on an auction. It was for a picnic and a hike in a wildflower preserve. It was guided by a couple of botanists, so I thought that might be interesting. And it was a beautiful day. People were very welcoming. They were very friendly. And by the end of the day, I made a few friends, and it made coming here every week just that much easier because there were that many more faces that I could look at, and they were familiar. So it kind of reduced the anxiety level for me. The good news was that after that experience, they were all still talking to me, and so it's kind of expanded from there. So I give it 2 thumbs up, please auction and bid the prices up. There's still plenty more to be bid on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thanks for that announcement. Also, the kickoff meeting for all spring sale chairs is today at noon in the Founders Room. Bring your brunch and hear ideas for making our biggest annual community event better than ever. And we are also preparing a few classrooms downstairs in our building for possible temporary housing for refugees. If you go to uuprinceton.org, you'll see a Sign Up Genius link. You can click that link and see how you can be a part of contributing items for the conversion of those classrooms. uuprinceton.org, Sign Up Genius, just click the link. And I think we have one more from Margie Herman.
I'm so pleased to welcome at last our permanent pianist. And his name is Asher Severini. He has a CV that would envy anyone, so I won't bore you with it here. But please welcome him. Come up and chat with him.
Welcome aboard, Asher. We're going to have fun together. Welcome. And now, friends, on this holy day, let us gather in peace and unity as one before the grace and grandeur of life, as children before its great and loving mystery. In this hour, may we know anew the holy joy of human lives growing together, so that this hour will shape all those to come in that same image. Come, let us worship together.
Thousands of candles can be lighted for a single. Thousands of candles. Thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the light of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared, said the Buddha.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Cindy Funko-Lee, and this is Elizabeth Silverman. And we're here as co-chairs of the Giving Campaign this year to kick off the campaign. As you can see by the setup of the chairs, this is not a usual Sunday service. Elizabeth and I have something fully interactive planned for you. After all, our theme is participation, so we might as well get started by having everybody participate in this morning's service. Yeah, anyway, so, and also please continue to participate at the brunch that Bill had mentioned at the beginning of the service that's been led by Chris Sturm, has organized, and many other countless people have provided. So thank you in advance for that out in Robinson Lounge afterwards. So anyway, what we were thinking when we thought about the campaign this year was, rather than present you reasons why we should all give our time, talent, and yes, our treasure to UUCP, we decided to get everybody involved in a short and snappy trivia game about our congregation's history. And thanks to our historians, the Hags, have helped provide some input on that, and as well as some more recent events. And to give you a feel of what it takes to keep all these wonderful things happening here at UUCP for now and in the past and for years to come in the future, we've also included some questions about our budget and campaign and how we actually, you know, fund our operation, basically how like the sausage gets made, so to speak. Anyway, so now for the logistics of our trivia game. We have 10 teams here in Channing, 9 here, 1 in the choir, and then we have 1 Zoom team that will also be participating that Dunbar is facilitating here, and Pete Gerster will be the online facilitator for that. Each of the team captains here in the room are seated under a balloon. So you can see we all have balloons here, and I think we have all the captains present. And like I said, Pete is facilitating the Zoom group. So I'm going to read out each of the 10 questions, and the captains will write down your collective answers. This will move very quickly, and you'll have roughly 2 minutes to answer each question. So it'll move pretty quickly. So, and those of you that are on the Zoom team, please remember to unmute your microphones. So once finished, all right, so once finished, Elizabeth and I will take turns reading out the answers, and then we'll determine who has the most correct at the end. And along with a sweet treat, the victorious team will receive a lottery ticket each. And all we say is that if you hit the jackpot, please consider splitting your winnings with your UCP. And so those of you who are in Zoom, if you win, we'll mail you your prize. So don't worry, you won't be left out of this. So, all right, now I think we'll start the game. Everybody should have, all the captains should have the questions, but I'm going to read them out and we'll get started. All right. Like I said, we have about 2 minutes per question. All right. So question number 1, in what year, so this is a 2-part question. In what year did a group of Princeton area residents first meet to discuss the possibility of establishing a Unitarian congregation here in Princeton? So number 1 is, what year did they first meet to discuss having a congregation? And part 2, what year, whoopsie. Okay, part 2 is, all right. Part 2, okay. Part 2, Sorry about that. All right.
Still not working. Test, test.
All right, can you
Part
hear me? Nope. Nope, 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 nope. All right. Okay, well, let me see here. Not sure how to get a microphone working. Hello, hello?
Test, test, test.
All right, I'm not sure here. No. Well, hopefully they can then. Hello, hello,
Testing,
hello.
testing.
Hello, hello. 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 Hello, hello. No.
Test. Test,
Probably they have one.
test, test.
nope.
No.
Haven't even like timed it, is it? Okay, hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. 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 Okay. Hello. What's that?
Test, test, test.
Hello, hello. 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 We need like a better hello, hello. Well, that's okay. Okay, hello. I'm sorry. Now the mic is back. Yay. Part 2 of the question is, what year did we move into this building? All right. So not part 1 was, what year did people meet to start forming the congregation, and what year did we move into this congregational home, this building? Hopefully the mic's back now for good.
I suggest to the,
Test.
Okay, now we're back.
can the Zoom people hear me? Nod if you can. Okay. I suggest that if anyone knows the answer, just speak out, unmute yourself and speak out, and I'll note the answer.
All right, 10 more seconds and we'll move on to question 2.
Anybody know? No answer?
No, I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it. Okay, everybody. Hopefully you've written down your answers. And now we're on to question 2. Okay, so this one is, how many senior ministers, including interims, have we had? Now it's a little fuzzy because there are some ministers of religious education. There were also senior ministers. So we'll give you, if you name them, if you come up with a number of the ministers that includes the religious education ones, we'll also count that. But mainly we're looking for senior ministers. Have we had?
Anybody want to take a guess?
And associates, exactly. So all the ministers that we've had here. You don't have to have the names, just the number.
Carol says 6.
7, actually.
Oh,
I'm this just as a guess.
yeah. Anybody else you want to guess? All right, I'm going to put down 7 as our best answer.
Eight.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bob.
8.
8? What do we do? Take the highest number?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to change it to 8.
I'll just give a shot in the dark for that number 1 because I have no idea whatsoever. So I'm just going to say 1925. we don't have any other answer, let's throw that out.
Okay. You want to guess at a second one? The second answer when it,
Oh, goodness. Let's give a couple of years and say 1927. That's probably a little early. I don't know whether, I wasn't here then.
All right, we'll have about 15 seconds more for this one.
I would say it's more like the 1960s than the
Okay, hopefully
1920s.
that wasn't too confusing.
Okay.
We'll move on to the, and I'll read out at the end who they were. So, okay, question number 3. All right, so you ready for question number 3? Who was UUCP's first female board president? Who was UUCP's first female board president, and when did she take office? And what 2 women followed her as board presidents, if you know that? But most importantly, who was the first female board president?
This is way out of my territory.
Diana Davies, and she was followed by Meg Cox and Lauren Foss.
Okay, Stephanie says Diana Davis, Meg Cox, and Lauren Foss.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
But I don't know when.
Okay, a few more seconds for that one. Of captains, you can write down who is the first female board president. Okay, now we're ready for question 4. Okay. All right. All right. Question 4. What UUCP Adult Faith Development Group was founded in 2010 by Interim Minister Meg Barnhouse and still meets every Sunday? So which group was founded by our Interim Minister Meg Barnhouse and it still meets every Sunday? All right, so write down your answers for that one. And now we're on to question number 5. What does OWL stand for? What age participates? What is it about? And where are we offering it this year? So the most important part is what is OWL? What does it stand for? And where is it being offered this current year?
Our whole lives.
For middle schoolers.
how about a shot at what it OWL stands for?
Our whole lives. I think I heard somebody say it.
Well, I didn't, I'm sorry.
And I think it's the middle school group.
What is it about?
Oh, healthy sexuality.
Okay, write down your answer for OWL. And now question number 6. This one is a 2-part question. First part, please paraphrase what is, oh, I didn't touch this. All right, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to just scream. Please paraphrase what is the. Sorry, I can't help that the mic keeps cutting out. Hello?
You're
I
fine.
didn't touch it. Hello? 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 I didn't touch it. Hello? 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 All right. Sorry, okay. All right, here we go. I'm gonna go fast while I got the mic. Okay. Which one of the 7, okay, please paraphrase our first UU principle out of 7. So now part 1 is to paraphrase what is our first principle. And we recently endorsed an 8th principle. What is that 8th principle about? The proposed 8th principle. So what is the first principle and what is the 8th principle about?
What is the first principle?
Worth of all human beings and respect for all.
Respect for the worth and dignity of every
Yes,
person.
yes.
And then race.
And the 8th principle is on race. It's about anti-racism.
Yeah, moving the congregation forward to develop in all of us and
Righty, please write
practice
down
and-
your answers to that. And our next 4 are numbers questions. So you'll have some leeway on getting the exact numbers. So, okay, question number 7. What is the UUCP's annual budget this year? So what is our annual budget? And how much of that needs to come from pledges? And where does the rest come from? So what is our annual budget? And can you name at least one other source of income besides pledges that we receive here at the congregation?
weekly contributions, I would guess. And the spring sale. And the auction.
The auction, the spring sale goes to the community and the auction goes to the congregation.
Oh, okay.
And we think the budget must be around 600,000.
Okay, 600,000 for the budget and this and the auction.
And I would imagine weekly contributions, which are half to the support of the budget and half to our partners in doing the work in the community. Does that make
In
sense?
other words, the offering,
Yeah, yeah.
weekly offering.
Okay, so like I said, the number, and then you should also, so you should have the number of the budget and then one other source of income besides pledges that our church receives. Well, that. Okay, so let's wrap that one up. Moving on to question 8, another numbers question. On average, how much does each pledge unit, and now a pledge unit could be a single person or entire family, how much does each quote unquote pledge unit need to contribute to meet our budget, to carry out our mission? And we'll give you a little leeway on that too. This is an average number.
Do you think 2,000 might be?
Any other suggestions?
Maybe a little more than that. What do other people think?
Okay. Great, okay.
I think it has to be more than that to meet the budget. Maybe 3,000.
Okay, everybody write down a number, and now we'll move on to our final two questions. Okay, question number 9 is, what is COLA this year? And that is the federal cost of living adjustment that's been determined from the government. What is the percentage this year for 2023?
Well, so for Social
Just a
Security,
one-part question.
for Social Security, it was 8.7%.
So like I said, just a 1% number.
Anybody else suggesting 8.7, Carol said?
So that's what it was for Social Security.
No,
And
not.
I guess
All
it was-
right, now we're on to our final question. And that is, last year's pledge drive solicitation started the same time, beginning of March, on Stewardship Sunday. It was, well, actually it was on March 20. When did last year's pledge drive finally end? And you either can give a number of days or months, and we'll give you a lot of leeway on the answer for that. How long did it take for last year's pledge drive to wrap up? And this is the final question.
guessing 3 months.
Anybody else want to suggest a number? 3 months it is then.
Thanks, team, for working together on this.
Okay, 10 more seconds and then we'll start the scoring. Kevin, how's the Zoom team doing? Do you want to just ask Pete if they're all done?
Yes, we're all done.
All righty, we're going to go ahead now. Everyone in the room, raise your hand if you need a second more time. Are you good? You need more time? Okay. Okay. All righty, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All righty, everybody, we're ready for the answer. So captains, make notes so you can tally up your group's responses. All right. So the first question was about when the congregation was founded. A small group first got together in 1948. And over the next 10 years, the group got larger and they met at Miss Fine's School on Bernard Lane. And they moved to a couple of different places but they moved into their permanent home on 1958. So the answers are 1948 and 1958. So score a point if you got those dates correct. All right, so the next question, I'll read out who our ministers were. So as Carol corrected me, we started on the website, it says our first minister was Reverend Gettier, but there were actually 3 before that. The first one be Alson Robinson, hence the name Robinson Lounge. I did not know that. And then number 2 was Hugo Leaning. Then we had Richard Fresco. And then we had Reverend Gettier, Robert Cope, Edward Frost, Peter Sampson was an interim, and then Paul Johnson. Robert Latham was an interim, Forrest Gilmore. Well, I'm going to get to that. Meg Barnhouse, interim, and then Reverend Bill Neely, our current. And then our assistant associate co-ministers were Howard Middleton, who was associate minister in the 60s, Fred Ward, Chris Reed, who was also a DRE and also a co-minister. So she was also a co-senior minister with Forrest. Remember, we had co-ministers at that time. We had Lorraine Sharapa, and now we have a Reverend Jennifer Kelleher. So anything from 9 ministers to 16 is correct. Yeah, 9 to 16 for grade 9 curve. All right. So who was the first female board president? And when did she take office? Ingrid Reed in 1973. So if you got Ingrid, that's enough for a correct answer. I'll go on to say that she was our first female board president in 73, followed by Sally Easter in 79 and Elaine Nigham in 87. Clearly the tide has turned, as most of our recent board presidents have been women. Okay, so what adult faith development group is still meeting that Meg started? And that would be the Buddhist meditation group. And it's currently led by Michelle Oshner, and it meets every Sunday online on Zoom at 12:30. So please join us if you would like to. All right, what does AL stand for? Our Whole Lives. And it is a sexuality education program for grades 7 through 9. It starts from first. It is our whole life. Right. It is a continuum. We're currently offering it for grades 7 through 9 with Washington Crossing. So, and the high school one. Alice clearly knows. And Judy? We did give an adult class years ago, and it would be great to offer another one. So as long as you wrote something about sex, you're right. Mark it right. Okay, so the next one is about our UU principles. And principle 1 is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. And the proposed 8th principle deals with racism. And it is, we, the members of the congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural beloved community by our actions that and accountable to dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. All right. So now, all right, so we're almost done here. All right, now the numbers question. Our annual budget this year is $734,000. So we'll give you a 10%. So if you got anywhere between 540,000 and 660,000, you're correct. Oh, no. Yeah. Wait. That is not correct. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This between 600. I know my math, honestly. So 660,000 to $807,000. And I'll mention to you that some of our other sources of income are short and long-term rentals, 50% of our collection plate, 100% of our fellowship auction, which is going on right now, so please pledge, and solar panels. And we have a few other residual sources, but those are our main ones.
Solar panels. I didn't.
Okay, number 8. On average, the number that we need from our contributions, if you did that part, is, I'm sorry, it is 600,000. 600,000. So that for, yeah. So that, yeah, okay. So if you did that part of the question, it's between 540 and 660,000 to mark that one correct. All right, number 8. How much does each pledge unit need to participate? We have about 200 pledge units. So that means on average, each pledge unit needs to contribute about $3,000. Which comes to about $60,000 a week. Now $60 a week. We are fortunate to have some congregants who are willing and able to pay much more than that. So not everybody needs to contribute amount, but that is the average. So we are so grateful for all of you that do contribute, and we need everyone to, to pledge. So to mark that correct, if you anywhere between 2,700 and 3,300 will mark as correct. All right. So what is COLA? And this is the amount, that they use to adjust Social Security. It's a percentage. And currently this year it's 8.7%. That is the number, 8.7%. And so clearly, we bring this up because salaries are our biggest part of our budget, and we really want to be able to, with inflation, we're all affected, and we want to be able to compensate our staff and our ministers who work so hard for us fairly. And that is the guidelines from COLA. Just want to throw that out there. And last year, how long did the pledge drive take? Well, last year it took 3 months. So the answer is 3 months, 90 days, end of May. It took 3 months of a lot of appeals to get all the last pledges in. And that is really 3 months that did not go to fulfilling our mission. So all we have to ask is that we're going to try to compress this as quickly as possible. So thank you so much. So that's the last question. All right. So all captains, have you all tallied up your answers? A range for number 9 is between 8.5 and 9.5%. That is a range for that's the range for number 9. So Kevin, can you Pete, don't read out the number, but when letting me know when he has his answer.
Okay,
And then we're going to wrap this up.
we're finished. We to the group, we've got 5. I count 5 out of 10 correct.
All right. So while Kevin's waiting for the Zoom team, I'm going to ask. Okay. So now, just for the captains, if you got 1 or more answers correct, please stand up for all the captains.
Well,
Yeah. Woohoo,
let's everybody hold up their hand. We're
okay. If you got 2, please remain standing if you got 2 or more correct. Please remain standing if you got 3 or more correct. All right, please remain standing if you got 4 or more correct. All right, well, 5 or more correct, please remain standing. 6 or more. All right, 7 or more, please remain standing. We got 7 or more. How about 8 or more? Wow, okay. You got 8? All right, 8. Okay, we're up to 8. All right, who got 9 or more? Oh, wow. Well, yay, 9. Well, okay, but wait, we have to wait for the Zoom team. So Benny got 9, and Kevin, how many did the Zoom team get?
5.
The Zoom team got
5.
5. So the winner is Benny's team. Woohoo! You get candy and chocolate. Thank you so much. And while Gareth is handing out the prizes, please, everybody, turn your chairs towards the front for the remainder of the service. Thank you once again. Thank you.
I became a member of UUCP in 1985. Yes. I became a member of UUCP in 1985. And UUCP has been my spiritual home for almost 40 years. I've been helped as a member to live my values and become aware of the needs of others. In the past few months, I've participated in the UUCP bereavement group, which provides the caring support needed by those of us who have experienced a death in our family. I've helped out in the children's and youth ministry too, which is fun. And I became a member of a daytime chalice circle, which provides connection and support for members. One of the members in my cello circle had been of the Plainfield whoops. No. It's gone again, I think. Okay, there it is. I guess it's not participating as well as it should be today. No, I'm right there.
That's not this.
Should I wait? One of the members in my cello circle had been a member of the Plainfield there's something, the Plainfield UU congregation. And that congregation had to give up its space in recent years. I don't know if it's, yeah, I can try this. That congregation had to give up its space in recent years. Yes, but I think it's just for lack of funds. So I think of what a blow that must have been.
Test.
Is that one better?
This one's weak. This one's weak.
What a blow that must have been to the members of that congregation who couldn't stay together. It's a reminder, though, that everything that happens in a UU congregation depends on adequate fundraising. For years, I took fundraising for granted, but I finally decided that I should find out more about who's doing our fundraising. I discovered that there is an amazing, dedicated group of UUCP members right here among us who have taken responsibility over the years for keeping our congregation in good financial health. It's very important to all of us that their efforts are supported. I decided that I needed to improve my yearly pledge. And since then, I have more than tripled what I used to give. And that simply tells you that I wasn't giving enough. I'm going to continue to improve my pledge every year that I can. In addition, I'm going to find out more about legacy giving so that UUCP will continue to thrive even after I'm only here in spirit. Thank you.
Well, I think we should keep the quiz thing going. So we'll do the same thing next week. The topic will be the NFL or current Broadway musicals, one or the other. There were once 3 farmers of 3 faiths who were neighbors, one Christian, one Jewish, one Muslim, each working land adjacent to the others, each familiar to the other's families, each friendly and often ready with a morning greeting, an observation about the weather, and a story or two. One Friday, the Jewish farmer glanced over at the land of his Muslim neighbor and realized that he hadn't plowed yet, and that it was the day that he observed Sabbath, so he wouldn't be able to. And yet it was going to rain really hard that night, which would make things very difficult for the neighbor the next day. Knowing that, the Jewish farmer plowed his neighbor's field and thought nothing of it. The Muslim farmer was aware of his dilemma heading into the Sabbath, but there was nothing he could do about it. He expected to walk into his field on Saturday morning and see a complete mess that would take days to fix. But instead, he found ground perfectly plowed and ready for planting. "It's a miracle," he exclaimed. "An angel has taken good care of me while I observe the Sabbath." A few months later, the Christian farmer awoke on a Saturday to see that his Jewish neighbor's corn was ready for harvest. However, he knew that since it was a Saturday, his neighbor would be observing his Sabbath and he wouldn't be able to work. He might lose part of his harvest if it weren't taken care of today. And so the Christian farmer, without saying anything, harvested his neighbor's corn and stored it in his barn for him. The next morning, the Jewish farmer went to his field expecting to see that he had lost part of his crop, but found out that the harvest had not only completely happened, but was all in his barn, ready to go. "It's a miracle," he exclaimed. "An angel has taken good care of me while I observed the Sabbath." And later in the year, the Muslim farmer noticed on a Sunday morning that his Christian neighbor hadn't gotten around to threshing his grain yet. Since it was his Sabbath, he wouldn't be able to do it, and the rain that was expected that night would wash part of the grain away. And so without thinking much about it, the Muslim farmer threshed his neighbor's grain and all was well. The next morning, the Christian farmer came out to see what damage the rain had caused, but found out that everything was fine. "It's a miracle," he exclaimed. "An angel has taken good care of me while I observed my Sabbath." This tale of the 3 Sabbaths is adapted from Stories for the Journey by William White and collected anew in 100 wisdom stories from around the world by Margaret Silf. It speaks to the kind of world that we all want to live in, one where we look out for each other, where we care for one another, where we help each other. It places 3 neighbors of different faiths on one land, and as each tends their plot, they also tend to one another's. They participate in each other's lives in ways that offer an abundant harvest. Generously, quietly, and faithfully, they build stronger farms together than they could alone, and then to the angels go the praise. I always wonder what I would do if I did all that extra work and the next day my neighbor started praising an angel for what was really the sweat of my brow. Would I say, "What do you mean? I did that. I helped you." Or would I stay quiet and let my friend believe that they were favored by angels? I hope I'd choose the latter, but I don't know. I do know that I'm no angel and that those farmers weren't either, but they were on the side of the angels in that story, and their giving brought great blessing. It reminds me that we don't have to be angels to bless. We don't have to be perfect to be good, and we don't have to be a saint to be holy. We just have to be human and giving and concerned with one another and even the stranger. We have to participate in one another's lives in ways that bring forth sustenance and strength and song. For alone, none of us will be enough to make it through the rainy and dreary days that threaten to wash away what we need. We will only last with each other. And in the abundant care of one another, we can collect and offer to neighbor and stranger the same strength and community that brings meaning to our lives, that gets us through our hard days, that helps us find a sense of home in what can be a lonely world. I remember the white-handed gloves of the ushers in my first church when I was a kid. The collection plates were brass and easily smudgeable, so they wore these gloves to keep them clean as they were passed from hand to hand in the pews, which of course ended up only smudging them. I only really learned that during some service where we youth were asked to pass the plate and usher and all that stuff. It was fun. And I remember putting the gloves on that so many others had worn in that role and realizing that some sort of transition was happening. I was passing the plate in addition to putting some money in it. I had moved towards some greater investment, greater involvement, greater participation in my church, and I really liked the feeling. It made me feel a little more centered in that space. Made it feel a little bit more like home. And later, I would put on similar gloves when I would take a run at the handbell choir, which would turn out to be another line on a long list of musical talents that I sorely lack. But the choir wanted kids, and so I showed up and learned that handbell ringing was really hard. And when I hear our choir ringing away in the morning, I'm always amazed at what they put together. But when I put on those white handbell gloves, I felt a similar deepening, a similar sense of peace, a similar sense of home located by simply participating in the goodness and helping to make it happen. Something changes when we move from observer to participant. An agency develops, a circle broadens, and we place ourselves in a line of other, not angels, imperfect, unsaints who are trying nonetheless to build a better world. And we join those who came before us or who are no longer with us, who knew that to bless is to be active in giving and caring and loving, and who knew that others were coming during their lives and after them, and not only wished but made real the circle of love that would be here to surround them. I was asked a few weeks ago how we as a congregation were able to hold so many memorial services lately. We have had many, and many have pitched in innumerable ways to surround each grieving family with love and support and care. And there's not one answer to that question, but part of the answer is that it's just the spirit of this place to offer that kind of shared ministry. It's part of our DNA. It's the glowing coal of who we are, especially when we need it to be. In times of crisis, we serve and take care of each other. And part of the answer is that people actively participate in that ministry. It happens because people do it, and they do it because they care. And part of the answer is that it happens because people before us did it. What we do today builds on their gifts, and the gifts we offer today will be built on by those to come. Such is true with all of our ministries. All that we offer one another in the world, the spirit in which we serve and grow and change, all is made real by the participation of those before us, and all is made real by our participation today. And as others have generously pledged to assure our congregation's ability to be a place of hope, love, justice, and joy today, we ask you to pledge as well, so that our gifts not only live on, but thrive. Participation in this pledge drive is an act of care. It's where we plow someone else's field because they can't, or harvest their crops so that they don't go to waste. And it's just as importantly a place where we receive the gifts and grace of others, acts that seem like blessings from angels, but are really just people being good to one another. Our gathered pledges make possible these blessings. They bring our values to life in this place that practices caring and learning and growing and community building and justice making, all with an eye toward blessing whoever enters these doors or clicks that Zoom link. The fullest expression of this loving, open-minded, welcoming faith comes through all of us, pledging what we can and participating as we can in the joyful, connecting, and strengthening work before us. That asks us to jump in, to participate and pledge and promise to our greatest possibility that even with all the goodness we've made in the world, we're just getting started. And I know that those who are no longer with us would cheer us on along the way. And they would definitely cheer on Cindy and Elizabeth, who have some more information to share about our pledge drive this year.
Just a little information, we won't keep you too long. Almost 60 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech at the Lincoln Memorial. Cindy and I here in Channing Hall have a dream as well, actually several dreams, all much less lofty than Martin Luther King's dream, but important nonetheless. Most significantly, as you've already heard, we have a dream that the coming year's pledge commitments will total at least $600,000 so that UU Princeton can carry out its mission of living our message of hope, love, justice, and joy. Now for some other dreams. We have a dream that almost all of the coming year's pledges will be submitted within the next 2 weeks, rather than dribbling in over 3 to 4 months, as has often happened in the past. We have a dream that our team will have to make only a few calls or send only a few emails to members and friends who have not yet pledged. We have a dream that those members or friends who receive the calls or emails will respond quickly, perhaps even, brace yourself, picking up the phone and answering, and not require repeated or prolonged outreach. We have a dream that we will reach our goal without needing to issue a second appeal, because having to do so is demoralizing to both volunteers and staff. In sum, we have a dream that our team's time and energies and the time and energies of Bill, Jennifer, Sarah, and the rest of the staff can soon turn to the work of building the beloved community, not raising money. We ask for everyone's help in achieving this. Our theme this year is participation, and that is what we need from each and every one of you, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. You should have all received within the last few days a mailing containing a letter from Bill, a brochure explaining this year's pledge drive, and a pledge card. Should you be so inspired, additional pledge cards and a box to deposit filled out pledge cards will be available by the Welcome Circle this morning in Robinson Lounge. You can fill them out while enjoying the delicious brunch organized by Nancy Fiedler and served by Chris Sturm and her team. And to further inspire you, we will now have John and Joellen Burton leading us in song. If it's okay with them, we'll have them sing it through once. Then we'll all join in as they sing it a second time, and you have the words in your order of service.
Thank you so much, Burtons. Please rise for the benediction. Go forth grateful for the moments before you, the breath within you, the people among you, and the Spirit guiding you toward lives of love and kindness. And go forth knowing that you are held always and always with everyone else by that great love of no beginning and never ending. Go in peace and let's go eat. Amen.